had a guest. All right, so essentially, this is the first time that I've been live. I'm pretty much just working to get on live with my brother. There you go. So it worked.
What up? All right, man. Let me try to
Look,
answer.
let me turn this music off. I'm a straight newborn to all this. This is all
Yeah,
new for me.
yeah, but it's the platform to be on right now till you start getting blocked.
Right. You know what I mean? That in Facebook doing the most.
Yeah, like they literally blocked me from one thing from last year,
Really.
and that was about taxes with the IRS.
Oh, wait till I see you later. My neighbor that lives around the corner from me. I was
hmm
just able to get an IRS letter from him last week, probably like on Monday. We was able to get him the tax exempt status on a federal level, and we also working right now to get it on the state level. So we got the tax exemption for his property, and it's classified underneath a trust, underneath indigenous status. So I'm definitely going to show you that stuff because the
Oh,
work is
damn.
being done. Yeah, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
All
tell you,
right.
my wife is like hype, bro. You had to see her. You know, she called me to tell me, so I was just like, I'm just happy, bro. Like it could be done.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could be
All
done.
right. I need to add the brother in here, but since it's your live, I'm
Right,
gonna need him to follow you. Is
right.
there another? So
I
I'm
could
gonna get
look
off
for
here
him.
real quick
I think I could
and
probably
check.
look for him.
What?
Can I look for him for his name or his Instagram page?
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna
let
do
me
that
see
on
if I
my
can.
computer. Yeah, I'm gonna do that on my computer. Hold on, my computer.
Uh,
Can I find it, brother? And what's his name?
I just do you see the comments? I just put his name down there.
I see it at the Finest Fly Trap.
There he is. He here. He
So
here.
I don't know if I can. I'm sending a request. Pin comment. Let me just see. Can I? I'm gonna just send him a request right now.
All right. He in the chat though.
All right.
He's,
Line is trap 03. And this is funny because it's definitely not letting me like I'm literally on my computer typing in his information and it's literally not letting me find his page. This is like ridiculous.
yeah. They bug you.
And he got a unique name, so
Yeah.
it's trap 03. That's crazy. Yeah, I put him in the search engine. He not even coming up. Hold on, let me just press go live. Let me see if that worked.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know if that's gonna work. Let's see. There
Whoa,
you go.
There we
this
go.
bitch. Yeah,
Got it. Look, it came together.
What's up, man?
you already, man. You already.
Man, you know they watching us.
Yeah, let them watch, man. Maybe they'll learn something.
Right. Right.
They watching and blocking.
Hey,
This all day though.
Yeah. But what you up to, man?
shit, man. Studying, man. Trying to get it all right. Connect these dots, man. See what's up.
Yeah. So the brother that we on with, his name is True,
Yeah, people.
and um, pretty much I wanted you to ask the questions and me just act like a moderator because he real good. He real good at talking and he long winded, but some things he can explain better. And I have his book out here right with me because I want to read something from there while we talking about proclaiming nationality.
Right.
Right.
But if you can just go ahead and start asking the questions. I know
I'm
you've been asking me questions all week.
I'm in right here.
So I just see it says we the people.
Meet your straw man.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he asked some questions about that one. So what's your questions about it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to break down?
All right. So I'm in between reading this and I'm on RV Bay Publications, the
hmm
.com. So it was basically saying like, oh, that, and I'm like looking up everything Asir the Duke of Tears be putting out. You feel
Yeah. That's a thorough brother.
Yeah, so he was saying like off rip, you gotta proclaim your nationality. And I know the prophet Drew Ali, no Drew Ali, you feel me? That was like main things. But like I was telling the brother here, like I'm new to everything, like only like 2, maybe 3 weeks in, just coming across all of this information. So it's all new. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to piece it together. Basically, according to RV Bay Publications, it was saying like they're using all these legal terms and Latin terms, ex-rel and the you gotta ex-rel your nom de guerre and all of this stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I got a I got a court case coming up, right? Just a driving without a license.
Oh, all right.
So I'm like, all right, like, is that the time and place to go in there and try to date or proclaim this type of stuff? Or, I mean, and if it is, I gotta really be on my shit because I ain't trying to
Mm-hmm.
smoke. You feel me? Like, so I'm like, all right, I also got a new job coming. So I'm like, all right, so like on the application, like how you go about that? Because they ask, are you a U.S. citizen? And I know
Right.
at first we say we're not U.S. citizens, we're Moorish American, we're nationals. But I'm like, okay, well, how do I apply all of this in the real life?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. Truth, you can go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Before I even answer the question, I just want to first give acknowledgement to, in case people watching, to my wife and my family, man. And because just amongst our brothers, I mean, Jalil knows that I've been going through different things, and mental health is like so important. You know what I mean? Family structure and all these different things are so important. So I just want to give acknowledgement to my family and to my wife and let them know that, let my friends and family know that we here. Um, and to answer your question, I'm gonna tell you some things that I've done in my time, in my period, in terms of just making an application with all this information. First, I was just recently working at Amazon. I'm probably like the only person in Amazon who was in there talking about just indigenous status, classifications, and that I'm a national. So all the documentation that they presented to me for me to fill out, I amended it. I didn't just accept the document and just sign it and say that I'm going to subscribe to how they define these terminologies. I took the document, looked at it, went back home. I made my amendments to it. And in making an amendments, I applied all the information that you're talking about now in terms of status into this instrument. And I think I probably might have been the only person in that facility who got a tax exemption status. Based off of the fact that when I did the application, I did what you call an I-9 form, IRS
Mm-hmm.
I-9 form. So if you want, you need to look that form up. Look at the form and present that particular document because it's all about the eligibility of employment based off your citizenship status. And based off your citizenship status, you have a right to present documentation that reflects, one, your consciousness, and that reflects your lineage. And that's what that form is. So I was able to produce documentation that we created, like my proclamation, also my proclamation that I also got with the state and also with the freeholders that was here in the city that I live in. And pretty much my documentation is instruments that I created. And I made an outright declaration. I've been through the so-called state, so-called federal courts, the mayor, the county, and I made these presentments to each and every last one of them. Had the judges, the so-called judges, which we know they're not real judges, but I had them affix their seal to all my instruments. So everywhere that I go, I present it. And this is how I was able to get the proclamation done with the mayor and also with the state. And I took them same instruments and took them straight to Amazon. They like, hold on, you really indigenous? Yeah, I said, I'm a Natco Moor. This is my lineage. That's literally where my lineage goes to. It goes back to Delaware, all the way from Delaware to Virginia. And I was able to prove that because I literally have the proof and the evidence through my family lineage. And with your instruments, though, you just want to take those instruments, understand what they are, because I tell everybody, bro, it's not the documentation itself, it's the consciousness, it's your mind. You can take RV Bay's publication instruments, look at it, evaluate it, go behind it and study the material, but you also want to take it and be inspired to write and generate your own material based off of what you're reading, because it'll make it that much easier for you to be able to apply it. You don't gotta like try to figure out, because you're like this, oh, I read this, and the third. My spirit felt like I should be writing it and articulating it like this, so I'm gonna approach it like this, and it's gonna make it easy for you to convey it to other people. Because I know that it's for us, it's always about us having to convince ourselves that we are who we are and that we're not black or we're not Negro. But it's not about that. It's really about being able to prove it. And you can prove it just by being aware of it. You see what I'm saying? And so as you're dealing with this issue, even with the tickets for the DMV, and you talking about arguing status, you can go online right now, type in New Jersey Superior Court, type in the name Truth Ali. You probably will see at least 25 cases dealing with criminal, dealing with civil for real. You will. And you'll see in that jacket that I have that every last single case has been disposed of. Every last one of them. Okay? And the reason they was disposed of is because, one, I didn't even have to go in the courtroom arguing status, even though status is the most important argument. I just deal with the essential basics. And the essential basics is somebody that's claiming a position of power and authority. Well, how did you get it? See what I'm saying? How did somebody get a position of power and authority over you to tell you that you're obligated to have an instrument to operate? And when you start studying the motor vehicle codes, like Title 39, the motor vehicle codes, you start defining what traffic law is. You start defining what a driver is. You start defining what a motor vehicle is. You start defining these particular things. You find out that you have not done any of those things. And then not only on top of that, your position is this. Are you entitled to a fair trial, a right to due process? That's your only question when you go into that courtroom. And if you are entitled to a fair trial and a right to due process, then you got to ask some questions. And those questions that I need to ask is, excuse me, for the record, who do you work for? And you're going to find out that the so-called judge, the so-called prosecutor, the so-called clerk is working for the party that's prosecuting against you. So I thought if you're entitled to a fair trial, how can you get a fair trial if they all work for the party that's working against you? You won't get a fair trial. So you should be demanding for a dismissal due to a conflict of interest from the beginning. You didn't even got to argue status yet. I need a dismissal because there's a conflict. You are a beneficiary. You have a financial interest in this matter. So no matter how it goes, you seek the benefit from it. And more than likely, it's not going to go in your favor because they're going to go with the party that they work for. See what I'm saying? And then my whole position is whenever you're making any type of argument in the courtroom, you just have to be aware of who you are. The straw man thing is one thing. The issue is not, to me, the issue is not how they misclassified us on documentations and they use it politically. It's the condition of how we've been conditioned to think like that. You know, it's the mentality, the straw man mentality. It ain't just the documentation, because you got to remember, if somebody says that you're a citizen, somebody says that you're Jimmy Smith, somebody says, here go your birth certificate, you got to remember that you have not agreed to any of those instruments or contracts. You was induced into those contracts as an infant. So that means that if you was an infant, you was considered as a so-called legally as a minor. So you wasn't competent enough to even make a decision on these. So when you talk about somebody say, oh no, this is who you is, you don't want to supposed to be making an objection and say, no, that's not who I am. And the question becomes, can they prove that this is you? And we know that they can't. You know what I'm saying? And if they did, they would have to expose all the amount of fraud that comes with those instruments, like the birth certificate, Social Security, and any other instrument they may use as a weapon against us. And the whole issue is you have a legal right now to stand up, not even just a legal right, but a natural right to come into your own consciousness and be like, listen, I object to any of these proceedings. Anybody's taking a disposition to say that they have power or authority. You want me to come into your venue and you haven't shown who you are. You have a right to make those objections. But if you do not make those objections, they're going to try to adjudicate on you. And in law, they say you acquiesce your rights. And pretty much you waive your right when you don't make any objection. You just accept it. But you got to know what you're looking at. You got to know the language of what you're hearing. So if you're going to be doing anything, look up that Title 39, United States Codes for the Motor Vehicle Laws. Start reading some of it. Deal with status law. And deal with who it is that you declare yourself to be, and recognize that you do have a right to a so-called fair trial. Now, we know that based off the Seventh Amendment, that if they saying, well, this ticket is, more than $20, then you got a right to have a full-blown trial. And more than likely, you go into municipal court and you're not going to have no trial. There ain't going to be no jury. It's going to be a kangaroo court by legal definition. See what I'm saying? And because of that, you should be making the objection, because if you're going to deal with status, then you got to be able to deal with the proper venue. So if you're what you call right now, like me and Jalil, nationalize consciously and also with our instruments, then they have to be able to have any adjudicating matter in a proper venue. And we know that the Superior Court, we know that the Municipal Court is not a proper venue. If anything, I'm dealing with Supreme Court or Federal Court the most, period. Okay? So when you make your argument, bruh, make your argument about them being able to prove jurisdiction, them also because they don't have jurisdiction. Matter of fact, before I even go there,
Yeah, I was going to say something real quick.
go ahead.
So from his position, right, he just learning everything. Do you recommend him actually try to put all this in right now?
Nope.
Or just based off his consciousness, just like, you know, kind of build himself up and not trying to go into controversy right now?
Yeah, one of the things is this. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would rather him go in there with a more natural flow, you know what I mean? So that way he what it is that he's conveyed, because you know they like to use our language against us too when you're not able to really articulate what you want to say. They waiting for you to stutter. They waiting for you to get caught up. And a lot of times when you look at a lot of the Moors who follow a lot of different groups and organizations, there's some type of documentation that they heard, and that'd be the dilemma. And the issue becomes it's as simple as this: me and you meeting today. In law, we got this thing what you call appropriate persona. Appropriate persona is your natural person, who you actually are. When you meet me and I meet you, we easily, comfortably introduce ourselves to you. Now, if you say, yeah, you say who you are, and I say, no, your name is Richard, you're going to be like, no, you're going to make your objections to that name. You're saying you're not Richard. I say, well, you owe me some money based off it. Now you're going to tell me now you're going to tell me to prove that you owe me money. So you begin to make arguments based off your common sense. And this is how we need to be when we go into the courtrooms. Use common sense to start exercising common law rights, which is really just thinking and saying, well, who the fuck is you to say that I'm obligated? And if you obligated based off of a contract, let's say you had a license. Well, when you go into the courtroom, it ain't never DMV in the courtroom. So that means they need to be able to produce a written contractual agreement that make you liable to any of these so-called statutes, codes, and ordinance. So you can be able to, period.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, he said he can't hear.
Oh, he can't hear? I don't know. Maybe. Well, you know how I be.
Maybe they're tripping again.
You know, once we start talking like this, everything start messing up. Everything start messing up. So, you know. But
are you still at Amazon?
No, actually, I left out of Amazon because I got accepted into a carpenters union, and so I just left them alone. So
okay, cool. Because I just started there, like, and you gonna have to, we gonna have to talk about that paperwork stuff because it tripped me up a little bit. Like, I'm gonna talk to you afterwards, but he said request him again. Can you request him?
Yeah, I'm seeking a request him again. There you go. Y'all see it. Go live.
But yeah, we have to build on that and the taxes thing.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. There you go.
All right, nah, cause my phone had rung and that shit messed up everything.
Okay.
But the last thing I heard was when the brother Truth was telling me going with a more natural flow. That's where it cut off right there. What was you saying at that point?
Yeah, I was saying everything should always be natural, and it's kind of like you and I meeting and we engaging, and you have no problem with introducing yourself to me, letting me know who you is. But if I was to be like, no, that's not who you are. You really Steven. And this is who you are. You're going to be objective. You're not going to allow me to call you or classify you as something that you're not, because you naturally saying, yo, this guy got me confused and twisted. So you're not going to accept it. But what happens when we go into the courtroom, we don't make objections, and so we accept it, and we acquiesce, meaning that we waive our rights. So for you, you should be flowing natural. So anybody say that you're obligated to any type of contract or obligated to these, or subjugated, I should say, to these laws, then your position is to make objections. And if you're talking about DMV, the issue becomes, can they produce a legally binding contract that stipulates that you made a contractual agreement to any of these so-called statutes, codes, and ordinance? Because I'm going to tell you how they play the game. The game that they play is this. On 1 minute, they'll say, well, you got a license, so you made an agreement. So you obligated to this, and we can hold you liable. And then when you go in there like me, like I never had a license. So when I go into the courtroom,
I never had a license.
So you good then. You ain't even got to, you see what I'm saying? You got to remember, everything is based off of consent. When you go into the courtroom, you got to remember what kind of jurisdiction or what kind of venue is it? Is it criminal? Is it family? Is it civil? What kind of matter is it? So if this is a civil matter, you understand that it's a matter about contracts, okay? And the question becomes, if DMV ain't showing up, then excuse me, for the record, can y'all produce the contract for my discovery before I can make a proper legal response? If they not giving you that, then you know.
However, after I caught this ticket, right, driving on suspended license, I went and got my permit because people was like, yeah, people was like, yo, it was like, yo, if you go get your permit, then go get your license before the court date, you probably be good.
Nah. Listen, I can tell you, bro, I've probably been doing this for about like 9 to 10 years. I've had people that I never met in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas, and California. And let's make a long story short, I filed what you call a petition to get a dismissal based off some of the things that we're talking about. And every last one of them had all the issues dismissed. And the issue becomes, if you never had a license, then how can something be suspended that you never had? Is that not fraud? Is that not crooked? So that means you need to be asking, can you produce a contract for the record so we can evaluate it, so we can investigate it, so you can do what you need to do to protect your rights? Because you're going into a venue and you're not being granted the opportunity to a fair trial. And not only that, we know that it's not legal anyway because of these venues. So your issue is not going to go get a license to counter what they're doing. The issue is you just being aware that there's corruption going on, there's fraud going on, and to be honest with you, you don't have no contract, so they can't hold you liable. For real. So you need to be, my position would be, I demand an immediate dismissal. And then what you would do, we'll help you with, you know what I mean? What we would do is we will also send like the so-called magistrate, like me, I usually send him what you call a memorandum of law. I send it straight to him. I send it to his clerk. I send it to the whole facility. And if he got his own institution, bro, if he got his own law firm that he practices, I send it to his law firm. No bullshit, bro. I'm going to show you some of my YouTube videos so you can see what I'm talking about because I got them. And what I do is I send those petitions right to them. And I'm like, listen, here go your delegation of authority. And you don't have no authority over me. All you have is an oath of office to uphold this so-called state ordinance. You don't have no constitutional oath of office. And when you start talking to these people like that, they looking at you sideways like they don't even want no problems with you. And you know what's going to happen when you submit your petition? They're going to make you the last person in the courtroom. They're going to postpone until it gets dismissed. You see what I'm saying? So your whole issue, bro, is not about trying to get a license so that way you can satisfy whatever weird, twisted, thing they got going on. You just want to be able to stand on principles of fair trial, conflict of interest, lack of contract, lack of an inter-party. Like, so why are we even here? Like, why are we even here?
Are these things I would present to my lawyer? Because they don't even let you speak for yourself. Yeah. So that's a whole nother separate issue. Like,
so when your law book comes, you're gonna have to look up the definition of impropriate persona.
Yes, you are.
And you're gonna understand why you don't use a lawyer.
So I got that right here with these notes I took off RV Bay Publications. Impropriate persona and something about the lawyer can't represent me because he's not what's the word here? Amica curiae or something like that.
Amica curiae?
Yeah, right. He's already his first obligation is to the courts. Because you got attorney, you got lawyer, you got what's the other ones? Public defender. You got, I forget all the different titles, but you got all these different titles.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay, bro. But the issue here, bro, is for real. You don't want to get a public defender or lawyer because you waive your rights to speak once you do that. You know what I mean? They start speaking for you. So your position is to be yourself. Like, for instance, is your name Richard?
No.
Yes, it is.
It's not. All
right, Richard. I'm gonna go ahead and, you see what I'm saying? You ain't having it. You feel me?
Right.
You're not gonna have it, bro. And that has to be your position. Like when you're dealing with these people, like, and it's really about you just being aware of what's going on. And I'm gonna make sure I get your information because I'm gonna send you some material. I'm gonna shoot you an email and send you some material, some things that you can look at so that way you can approach it. And I think it'll give you a better comprehension of how you want to approach it. Because even with the RV Bay Publications, It's real good. I just don't see every form that they use applicable for everybody's situation. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is different. So you're gonna have
It's
to,
good. It's good starter information.
yeah, it's good start information. I
But
mean,
I just went inside to grab something about that lawyer thing. I'm gonna try
oh,
to read it real quick.
yeah, read that.
This is from Corpus Juris Secundum.
Mm,
Uh, Fundamentally, an attorney has a dual responsibility to serve both the court and their clients. So go down here. The greater duty is owed to the court.
damn,
Their first duty is owed to the court. So they in there playing you.
that's it. That's it.
So
And that's
that's
the
why they
public
always try
defender.
to get a plea deal.
Always.
They never get a case dismissed. It's always a plea deal.
And you got to remember, when you go into the courtroom, a plea literally means to bargain. So you going in there. See when you go into the courtroom, the first thing they ask you is, do you understand and how do you want to plead? So they're letting you know that they're ready to racketeer and engage in business because it's all commercial. But you have to understand that it's not lawful, that it's commercial. But if you're not aware of
Mm-hmm.
who you are, you're going to go in there thinking that you're obligated to respond to them. You're going to go in there thinking that you're obligated to provide them with personal information. You're going to be thinking that you're obligated to even just listen to them and allow them to process. And that's just not the case, bro.
So do I state to them that I'm in propria persona when I?
Mm. You can do it verbally, but this is the thing. I don't want you to get caught up in that because it's going to be difficult for you to memorize. You know what I mean? Especially since you're fresh. Your whole position
Yeah.
is you get documentation to precede you, and your documentation precedes you. You look at it and you read from it, so that way you can kind of understand what's going on. But my goal is, if I was working with you, I'd be having you write it yourself, just so you know how you want to express things in the way that you do. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
then both of y'all, my approach could be aggressive. His approach could be calm. His could be more intellectual. Mine could just be more aggressive and like, I just give a fuck about y'all. And most of the time it's like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But some people are more articulate, and in being articulate, they real calm and they patient and they know what's going on. And like when I go in there, I let them know, bro, I got to show you, bro. I'm talking about child support. I'll be from here. All y'all foreigners. I don't know who y'all are, but y'all colonists, and you sitting here acting like you got jurisdiction and power on me. I'm indigenous to this land. You need to show me where we got treaty agreements between each other. If we don't have a treaty agreement between each other, then I need you to prove that you have jurisdiction over me. You may have jurisdiction over the matter, subject matter, okay? But they don't have jurisdiction over the individual, which is personal jurisdiction in personam. See what I'm saying?
See, but yeah, this that's all high level. Like
It's really not.
Watch this.
But
when I
I
said
get where you're coming from. I get where
Watch,
you're coming from because you fresh. You fresh.
yeah, my court date is in October. That's
Yeah.
not that
right.
far away. So
Right.
I'm
But
like,
the more you worry, the more you create worry in your mind, it's just a reflection that you're just not as competent yet and you're not confident yet. But you are confident in being yourself. Now, can
right.
I make you get up right now and send me some money? Can I make you get up off the couch, cut your locks? Can I make you do anything? If I can't make you do anything, then how do you give these people that you don't know, that's foreigners, how can you give them this position and this power? You never met them. You never seen them. You never seen them shoot nobody. You never see them rob nobody. But you're going in there with this intimidation
Yeah,
because it's all.
they've been locking me up for years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so
I get what you're saying.
I get that.
Wait, I'm on probation right now. That's I was worried. I called my PO like, damn, this is a new case. I'm like, am I gonna be doing jail time? Like, just let me know off the rip so I could prepare. She was
Right.
like, nah, you ain't gonna do no jail time.
Right.
But
It's just a ticket, and they're going to try you. Don't get me wrong, because you just getting into the information, so it's going to be real challenging for you to take what we're talking about and apply some of the principles. But we're going to give it to you as simplistic as we can. And like I said, I'm going to send you some documents. And I'm sending it to Jalil too, so that way you can look at them and examine them, so that way you can understand why I approached it the way that I approached it, why I'm languaging in the way that I'm approaching it. Because when you go in there in October, your whole mentality like, hold on, you're going to see it for what it is. Now, you're going to send the paper weeks in advance. Now, when you see them, I promise they're going to be just from here. They're going to say your name. Excuse me. They're going to say your straw man name. And it's your position to make objection and say, well, no, that's a misclassification. That's what you call the non-degree. You know what I mean? And it's an error. And this is who I am, my proper legal status. And You're gonna put that in your documentation, and you say I refer to and I'm identified by your new appellation, or your proper appellation, I should say. And when
And
you
that's another
Appellation.
thing we need to get into.
Thank you for that. I was trying to figure out the word for name. It's not name. It's appellation.
and
Yeah.
like I'm on there all the time, bro. I let them know. They say, you know, they want you to swear in, they want you to do all these different things. And I let them know, man, my title and appellation. You know what I mean? I'm Truth. My noble title is Ali. And I say I come from the Nationality Moors. This is my lineage. You're gonna have territorial jurisdiction. They want me to refer to the land as New Jersey, but I let them know that that's a colony name. This land is referred to as Lenape territory, Sheikh Lemexim in Pennsylvania. So I refer to those indigenous terms because that removes them from assuming any type of jurisdiction.
Are you stating that every so-called state has a different name or a proper
It has
name,
an original. It
a
has an
original
original.
name?
Well, you got to remember.
I'm in Massachusetts,
So you,
Commonwealth.
so it's some brothers. Oh, that's where the rise of the Moors are, ain't they? In
Yeah,
there?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah, they in
yeah,
Massachusetts. Yeah.
yeah.
So actually, when you talking, you got to remember there's three types of jurisdictions, and you familiar with them, or are
Nah,
you?
but I just was skimming over domicile, I think, and I seen jurisdiction, but I didn't get to jurisdiction yet.
You'll get there. Well, jurisdiction is the position of power that somebody may assume over you based off of whatever establishment or agreement that you may have between each other. Like, for instance, to make it simple, you have jurisdiction over your son because you're his father. See what I'm saying? So,
It's just authority.
you know what I mean? You got an automatic sense of authority. And remember, when you look up the word authority in law, it means permission. Okay? So, in this sense, we give permission to people who assume power and authority over us, and they don't have it. So when you talk about jurisdiction, you got three types. You know, you got MREM, which is property. So the first thing we go in there, Smith, Jones, and Johnson, and we know that with some of them surnames, not all of them, but some of them surnames, they already have you classified as property. So they already assume that a jurisdiction. Then you have territorial jurisdiction. They said, well, we sent you a letter, you responded to us, and in the state of A, B, and C, we have legal jurisdiction. Hold on, I'm not from there. That's why anytime I deal with the courts, and you can ask my wife, anytime I deal with the courts, here go my email. Here go my email. You see what I'm saying? Take my email. So that way they don't have territorial jurisdiction, because I know that the state of New Jersey, just like the state of New York, was incorporated in like 1844. You see what I'm saying? And in New York, I think 1644. You see what I'm saying? I know this. So I know it's a corporation from the gate, and it's impossible. I will be lying under oath of perjury if I say that I'm from the state of New Jersey. And that's how I kill him. Yeah, I'll be under perjury if I say I'm from the state of New Jersey. Well, do you live here? I live in Lenape territory. I have no address. They be looking at me like this, brother. If you talk to my wife next time, Jalil, she'll tell you. I'm talking about, bruh. We had these people, these DIFUS caseworkers, bro. They was trying to come in our house, bro. We had them. They tried to go submit a petition to a judge so they can speak to our children, etc. And bro, we shut their asses all the way down in courtroom.
Mm-hmm. That's when they overstepping.
Yo, soon as they start, I let them speak. But as soon as I started talking, it went from, okay, Mr. Ali, we understand. So let's go ahead. It's not that we can do. They couldn't do nothing because I deprived them of jurisdiction. I deprived them of that authority that they assume. And every time I speak, the first thing I say, there's some assumptions going on. I have to destroy the assumptions.
Exactly.
Assumption about you. And that's it. And so the other jurisdiction is in personam jurisdiction, which is personal jurisdiction. Nobody can define that but you. Nobody. You know what I mean? Nobody can give it up but you. Nobody can take it from you. It's non-terminable. It's non-transferable. You cannot, bro, it is yours. It's everything about who you is in your space, and you're breathing this right now. So how can another man, how can I come up to you and tell you I got power over you? Come on, let's go. You coming in my car right now. Let's go. Oh, go ahead, guy.
Yeah, and that goes back to jurisdiction, because when you break down the word jurisdiction, juris means right and diction means words. So the only way you can give it up is by you admitting it. It's by what you're saying.
By what you're saying. By what you're saying. And then you got to remember, when you go into court, if you don't feel confident, you don't feel confident to be able to articulate, then you need to let your documentation speak for you. And then in letting it speak for you, take the time and say, yo, I need this adjourned to another time, so that way I can get the time out to feel more confidence in this. Because they're going to test what you know, but they ain't going to do it in front of everybody. But if you do it in front of everybody, I'm telling you now, they're going to go just like this. No, he did.
Yeah. And what they do sometimes, what they did for me is like they will recess, and then when you come back, they told me to go back to the judges' chambers, the so-called judge chambers, like because they don't want you talking in front of other people.
Right, they don't.
Like
They want you waking up the masses of people who sleep, because members of racketeering things, it's a commercial activity, and all they working on is how can we get finances? How can we use fear to induce you to extract finances? And if we can't extract finances, then what we're going to do is threaten you with some type of jail time, some type of punishment, or whatever the case may be. But the question becomes, do you have a lawful right to take this disposition? And they don't. But you have to know who you are and who they are, and not approach them like they're this. It's simple. If you see me walking down the street, you ain't gonna automatically be like, "Yo, this dude got all the power in the world. I'm about to bow down to this." You're not gonna do that. See what I'm saying? So why do we go in there and do that with these people, especially these foreigners? You know what I mean? Even some of our own kind that works for them. And I'm not knocking them, because I understand that they just working, and some of them are incompetent too. But you cannot approach it, bro, like they got a sense of power that you don't have, or that they grant you right. And remember, the courts can never grant you something they can never give you. So they can't give you rights. They protect pre-existing rights. This is fact. That's what they're supposed to be for, but we know they infringe upon that and turn them into commercial. So
they criminals.
They criminals, bro. That's it. And you have to understand that that's what's really going on. And as you approaching a situation and start studying a little bit more, your whole conversation is going to be different. Your whole way that you perceive it is going to be different. And you're going to start to listen to what they're saying. And as you're listening to it, the language is going to start clicking, and it's going to sound completely different than a normal, basic conversation like we having today. You know what I mean? It's going to like, wait a minute, they trying to trap me. They trying to infringe upon me. They violating me.
Right.
And you're
And so like next year around this time, you remember when I said it's really not, when you said it's kind of high level, and I said it's really not, by next year you will understand that statement if you keep studying. Because all this stuff is really basic. We just never been in the loop about it.
Right.
Right.
So nationality is something that's just something you should be taught in grade school.
Yes, it is.
Like other countries don't even have to deal with this issue because it's just already known.
Right.
But with us, we've been held out of everything, so we think it's high level, but really it's elementary. And nationality just sets up the stage to build as a nation.
That's it.
Let me backtrack a little bit onto the nationality part.
Mm-hmm.
So, proven, because I think I sent the brother Jalil like a whole thing I found on when I googled the original name for America, at al Americanos, whatever that is. I don't remember, but I googled that because I heard a seer, he always be saying that. So I was like, so I'm like, what is this? So I googled it, and like a whole bunch of cases popped up where it was dealing with people going into court trying to claim this, because you know they got a lot of Moors under like terrorists or whatever. So they wrapped that up with those dudes who was claiming that sovereign whatever thing, you know, claiming that they were sovereign, the Sovereign Act or whatever. But
sovereign citizen movement.
All of these cases, they was just like shutting them down, like oh, how could you even claim you're a Moor and talking about treaties from like hundreds of years ago. Like the courts was like, nah, fuck up out of here.
But you got to understand, these are criminals. They're not going to admit that we're right because they're the colonists. They don't want to give up their power. So why would somebody in court give you all the information you need to go back to your people to free them? So they're going to make it seem like we're crazy, but we're just standing on law and treaty. Like they can't deny the treaty. But again, you're dealing with criminals, organized criminals.
Organized criminals, y'all. And then the thing about it, what makes it so upsetting is that you have a lot of people who are incompetent and who aren't aware of the national status. And as a result of it, they further endorse this behavior. You know what I mean? And it makes it more challenging for a lot of us when you standing on laws and you standing on principles, you're standing on these morals and ethics, and yet you have your own people sitting there. And they be looking at you like you sideways, and they will start defending that they black and that they Negroes and that they all these different things while you sitting here on a whole nother conversation, a whole nother frequency, and they cannot even understand it. and it makes it challenging, bro. So that's why you gotta, you know, I like what Taj said. As you come into consciousness and as you come into awareness, you're still gonna have to stand on your own. You're gonna have to stand, even if you gotta stand against everybody. You know what I mean? Because they all wrong, and you know that you're the only person that's right. You gotta take that disposition because that's what's gonna free yourself. It's gonna free you from the fears. It's going to free you from the misconceptions that we have about each other. It's going to free you. And I'm telling you, bro, I be walking around here feeling like, yo, I'm just glad I'm fucking who I am. You know what I mean? I was, I wasn't no punk. And for me, some of the things that I used to do, and like I said, you can look, you can look at my jacket, bro. When I first started studying Taj Tariq Bey, he came to my house because I knew his niece, and he sat down with me and he gave me a law book, man. I literally got this law book here, man. I had this book for like, bro, I had this thing for like 10 years, bro. He literally gave me this law book. You know what I mean? You can see it's all back. Look, I got to put a damn rubber band on it to keep it together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He gave me this, and when I opened it, I just started reading everything. You know what I mean? Whatever piqued my interest. And probably the next week, I said, you know what? I learned this, so you know what I started doing? I said, I'm going to see how I can apply it, because I'm not afraid of them. I wasn't already afraid. So I used to go in the middle of the street and walk in the middle of traffic, oncoming cars. I'm like this, running right into the cars. Cops all over, the street, you doing violation, you jaywalking, you obstructing, all this shit. You know what I mean? But I did that because I needed to test that information. And I needed to test what it was that I knew and see how much I retained. And I'm going to tell you like this. They went from referring to me as my straw man to when I got finished with them, Mr. Ali, I appreciate you. I learned some valuable lessons. Thank you. Every case dismissed, bro. Every case dismissed. So you can't be.
when you declare your appellation, is that enough just to declare it, or do you have to do like some paperwork to like legally make that what it is?
You gotta remember, everything is lawful because you touched it. It ain't got nothing to do with anything legal, because that's all commercial. You got to remember, it's as simple as this. Like, I knew that in my heart, when I asked my mother, where did our names come from? And she told me that it came from the colonists, I was already uncomfortable. You see what I'm saying? And I already felt the injury. So what we're doing is we speaking from a people who's been injured, who's have their identity withheld, hidden, obstructed, obscured. So for me, I'm like this. I am who I say I am. I'm claiming the name of my ancestors. And so I started studying, finding out who were some of my ancestors. I got a long-ass appellation title, bruh. Long one. Just true for Ali. But in doing that, I'm just saying I'm not none of these things that you're trying to classify me as. And I think that if you do create instruments, every instrument should be a reflection of your consciousness. And me and you, all three of us can come together and say, this is our culture, and incorporate our cultural identity inside of it. But based off of your own uniqueness, you're going to be able to express your own level of consciousness on that instrument. And anything that you put on paper is lawful. Here you go. And then you say and when you put your new appellation and title, your proper appellation and title on paper, you give them 30 days to make any type of legal objections to it or lawful objections to it. And you know, like I know, how can somebody object to who you say that you are? It's impossible, bruh. Nobody can object to who you claim to be. But if you don't claim anything, then that means that you only serve to be subject to what it is they claim to be. And then they create them bullshit documents that say this is who you are. You see what I'm saying? Now, is that shit lawful? Is that shit legal? Hell no. So your position is to reclaim, to re-strengthen, and go out there and be who the fuck you are and give it to them, period. Like,
so let me ask you this, Finesse. Do you understand why you need to nationalize?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you said, do I understand what the purpose?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. Because, like, you know, when I was talking to you, like, I try to focus, like, locally on people who've been in gangs and stuff like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I broke it down to one of my friends, like, so he can understand from where he been. Like, you say you've been cripping for the last, how many years?
19.
19, right? So people don't know that gangs and government are really no different.
No different.
Like, because from what I explained to him, like, every gang has a flag or the colors, right?
Right.
And every government has a national flag, a state flag, or a city flag, right?
Right.
Right.
And then governments, they do drug dealing,
Yes, they
but
do.
the way they do it, they label it under legal names, like, and they're on the corner too, right? So every corner you're going to see a CVS,
A pharmacy.
a Rite Aid, a
Right.
Walgreens, or a Walmart,
Right.
but they call it pharmacy.
That's right.
But also, like I was telling them, like everything's just it's all the same principle. Like gang members have been operating under the principles of nationality. They just don't know. They just don't know it.
That's right.
So like their street code, G code. Okay, so governments, they're going to have their statutes. They're going to have constitutional law, stuff like that.
Right.
And also, you got to deal with the territory, right?
That's right.
Right.
So you got a block or you got a neighborhood. Governments, they have counties, cities, countries, stuff like that. So it's all the same principle. You just got to direct it into the political form.
That's right.
And when you get into a gang, some gangs have initiation, right? And they have their own rules that you got to abide by. But in government, that initiation is called nationalizing. That's how you become a member of that nation.
That's right.
And so when I broke it to him like that, it made so much sense to him. Like, so now he doesn't seem so confused about the function of nationality.
That's
Because,
right.
like I said, you've already been doing it, just in a different form.
Right.
So you got to take everything that you've already been doing and just got to apply it to the political arena.
Right. That's right. I mean, and to me, I agree, man, because everything is about them keeping us ignorant and unaware of who we are and how to identify. That's why it's so challenging to ask people, well, what's your nationality? And they have no clue, but they quick to, proclaim that they black. And matter of fact, when you ask them about nationality, they don't even say black. You know what I'm saying? Because they just incompetent. And so the whole thing is nation. You got to pay attention to all the language. You know what I mean? Nation, natal, national, state, statesman, state person, status. All these things are similar terminologies, and we start paying attention, you start to see a connection. That's why when you're going into the courtroom, you got to make a legal statement. And that's why the statement is going to be based off of what? Your status, okay? And your status is going to be based off of what? Your lineage and how you identify and how you relate to your estate that you're dealing with. And your estate essentially is this land that you're standing on that they misclassified as, let's say, Manhattan, okay? We know it ain't no motherfucking Manhattan. We know that shit. So the question becomes now, what the hell is the original name of it? So you can start referring to it. So that way they're not assuming. Because they like, yeah, we got these people, we misclassify them. And the only thing they know is that all they can do is assume that you are black and you're a Negro. And if they assume that, it's only because of the language. It's not a objection. You know what I mean? You claim that nationality. And so when you look at so-called Mexicans and so-called foreigners that come over here, they become what you call naturalized. That means they become part of this corporate system, society. They adopt their customs and ways. That's not the case for you. You're nationalizing. You're coming back into consciousness. You're reclaiming an identity that was already yours. Okay? Period. And guess what? There's no corporate entity on the planet that can grant you that because your mother already granted you that when you came out of the womb. That's why it's nation natal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why it's her inheritance. It's all about what you already have. Nobody can give you that, bruh. It's consciousness. It's no piece of paper that can grant you that. Your consciousness grants you that. The paper reflects your consciousness. That's it. To these people, because their presumption is that you Negro, colored, and black, and you don't know who the fuck you is anyway. That's their presumption. And your position is destroy that. And so all you're doing, bro, is coming back into a conscious awareness of who you are, and you exercising your right. You don't have to ask questions. All you got to do is just be. And as you begin to study those questions that you may have in your subconscious mind, they're going to be answered as you make the progression, as you start to do the work. You're going to begin to answer your own questions, I promise. You know what I mean?
And the information going to be easier to identify as well.
All right, so let me bring it back to something more, I don't know, tangible, I guess, right? So, for instance, when I went the other week and filled out this application for the job, let's say I used my proper appellation, right? How would that work? Because they gotta take taxes. They gotta pay me to like
They gotta
bank
pay you, but
account.
that's why I'm gonna share what I did. I can only see that's the thing. I cannot tell you how everybody would apply the knowledge, but I can share how I applied it and how it served me. Now, when I went into the job, you know, they want you to have they want you to have what do you call it, Social Security, birth certificate, state ID, all the different things on the creator, on everything, on life, bruh. I ain't provide none of that shit. I came with my employee eligibility form, my I-9 form, my proclamation, my legal status, and I presented it to them. And I gave them my proclamations that I got done from the freeholders that was here, so-called freeholders, and I gave it to them.
What's
And you
the
know, so
freeholder?
that's a fake status that a lot of the counties and the cities, they want to give to certain members so they can act on behalf of the so-called city. You know, and they call them freeholders because they feel like they entitled to hold in some of the, have entitlement to some of the resources to the city or to the corporation they working for. But they really ain't shit. We really the freeholders because we the nationals. This is our estate. It's ours. We literally the freeholders. But you know how they reverse the roles? Got us thinking that they somebody important. But that's our status. And so what I'm saying is like, so when I was Amazon, I had got the tax exemption from doing what I'm telling you. And then I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to Amazon. So I waited like maybe 3 months when I had left. Then I said, I'm gonna go back. Let me tell you how I went back, Jalil. I went back, right? I said, I'm gonna go back. So I reapplied, went there, whatever case may be. And so as I'm going in for the interview, the guy said, oh, you need this ID, this, that, and the third. I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna be out. And as I was leaving to go out, one of the ladies came from the back. She said, you Truth? I said, yeah. She said, yo, he don't need to go nowhere. She said, I've been working at Amazon for more than 10 years, and this brother got more paperwork than anybody that I ever come across. You fine, come on, let's go. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Didn't even know. But because I sent in so much documentation, like just expressing who I am, and I'm not accepting on these classifications. And now you got to remember, when you're doing applications now, it's digital. So they want you to do digital signatures. You see what I'm saying? And that's criminal because they cannot verify that it's you. You see what I'm saying? So that means that whenever you go to a job, you got to say, listen, let me get the application. Let me read it. Let me look at it. And then you have to have the courage to make the amendments that you need to it to fit your status. You cannot depend on them to do it. You got to be the one to say, this is who I am. I don't give a fuck if it ain't on that paper. If it ain't on that paper, then that means that it cannot suffice for you. You cannot use it the way that you need to. You got to take those instruments and say, look, I need the time to be able to amend this unless you allow me to submit my documentations. You know what I'm saying? That has to be the mentality that we have. And when we have that mentality, bro, it's going to only serve us, bro. Motherfuckers in there like, what? You don't pay no taxes? No. And let me tell you, the first 3 months, Jalil, they was taking taxes. Even though I submit that stuff, bro, don't you know that third month came back? They said, oh, we got your documentations. You was granted the tax exempt status. We're going to reimburse you all this money back. So-called. And they reimbursed $4,000. You know what I mean? Or 4,000 notes, I should say. You know what I mean? And I showed it. I mean, you know, you guys, my wife, she'll tell you, you know, and this is the thing, man. Everything is about you coming into awareness. And I promise, brother, I promise you will be able to start applying this shit immediately. And you ain't got to go through no groups and groups of people, do no process where you got to wait for people to feel like they can grant you something. You granted that from the womb. Everybody, not just us because we indigenous or the firstborn people. Everybody been granted that already, bruh. It don't matter what the ethnicity is. You've been granted it already, man. But we playing all these games. Well, these people playing games with us. You know what I mean? So
and even amongst the Moors, like you pointed out, like there's a lot of division amongst us because there's people that are trying to sell nationality packets for over $1,000 when this stuff is free.
Well, you know. Bro, it's so funny. I was sitting down writing last night, the day before yesterday, and that whole mentality, like, you got to really think about it. How can the people who was taken from their land, placed into bondage, what you call enslavement, and then you wait 50 years, 60 years, and say, you know what, I'm going to grant you the right to pay for your freedom. How can somebody be granted something when they was taken? You mean to tell me you could take me, but now you want me to pay for it? And then these people with these nationality package saying, come on and sign up, they got the same mentality. They think that you got to buy who you are. That's bullshit. You are who you are, period. Nobody can grant it. Nobody can take it away. It cannot be terminated. It cannot be transferred. Okay? This is what status is all about. RV Bay can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. Jalil can't give it to you. You already got it from your mother and your father, bruh. See what I'm saying? It's just about you waking up. These venues that we have with RV Bay, they there to support us, to strengthen us, so that way we can continue to build on our empire. Like, that's what it's for. And so we use them to our advantage. But you will be able to stand as you become more aware of who you are, and as you become more aware of the injuries, the social, political, economical injuries and identity injuries that we've experienced. Once you recognize that you've been injured, you had your head chopped off, children kidnapped, and represented in another type of way. Once you understand that concept right there, you're going to see them completely different, bro. I'm telling you, you're going to approach them with such grace that they're not going to know how to respond to you. They looking at you like I'm looking at you now, like I'm looking at you now. The whole energy that they don't even want you to open your mouth because they looking at you because just how you, go back to what Jalil was saying about inappropriate persona. Inappropriate persona is about being in your proper conscience, your proper person. And so we talk like that. We think like this. We dress like this. We eat like this. Everything we do is predicated on who we are. You see what I'm saying? And you got to remember, when the people are anti-culture, they want to destroy it. You represent that culture. You represent that identity. You represent that people. You represent that people who have been enslaved. You represent all these. You represent all these dynamics. And they got to keep it suppressed because, like Jalil said earlier, they do not want to admit to the injuries that was done. But it's your job to remind them of who the fuck they is. Because it's kind of like I'll come over here and beat you up, take your bike from you, and then I'll walk around riding on your bike every single day that you see me. And then you like, oh, that's my bike. Can I have my bike back? Yeah, I'm wrong for taking your bike, but then I still ride off on your bike. You see what I'm saying? I know I'm fucking wrong, but I still ride off on your shit. And you just looking like, eventually you're going to get the courage to be like, I'm going to whoop his ass. And I'm going to take my shit back. And this is essentially what's going on with us as a people. You know what I mean? And it's one of them things where as you learn to channel the anger, you know that it don't apply to everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to those people who's trying to maintain this system of corruption. You know what I mean? It applies to them. You know what I mean? And we got to be able to teach even some of their children, even some of them, because the more we teach them, even some of them are upset about what's going on. You know what I mean? Period.
Yeah, well, I just think the main thing, I got to learn all of this and have it all down packed because, you know, getting this information, you know, make me want to go into the probation office like, look, bitch, that ain't me. I don't even know why I'm reporting to your ass. Like, they like, wait, your ass in jail.
Right.
You gonna swing on the PM?
He's gonna be looking like, oh shit, he know. You know what I mean? They gonna be like, oh shit, he know. But that's the sad part is that even myself in my past, you know, being unaware of these dynamics. See, that's the thing about lies. You know, a lot of us have relied and depended upon falsification and lies. And as a result, in the long term, we find ourselves making choices predicated off that information. That's what you call fraud, because you relied on information that wasn't truth, okay? And then we made choices off of that, and we find ourselves in these situations. That is what you call a legal tort. That is an injury. It's called falsification. It's called fraud. You know what I mean? And because of these dynamics, we find ourselves in situations where we're like, damn, how the fuck did we get here? And now you're getting this type of information and you're looking at it in contrast to what it is that you're dealing with. You know what I mean? And so as you grow, I think that you're not going to have none of these issues that you have no more. I promise. You're just not going to have them. And as long as you have the courage to be yourself and to ask questions, when they going in that courtroom, excuse me, who are you? I need to know who the fuck you is and what's your job, what is your position. Don't be afraid to ask questions. But they like to try to hold you responsible because, like Todd said, like many other people said, ignorance of law is no excuse. That's the issue. Your ignorance is not an excuse. Your sincerity, and like I talk about it in the book, your sincerity about a particular thing don't mean anything if it ain't real, if it's based off of your belief, if it's based off of opinion. You can have the most loving intentions. That's a great thing, but that shit don't mean shit if it's predicated on your opinion and your beliefs. We need to be dealing with political status, dealing with the facts, dealing with the evidence, dealing with the proof, and being able to utilize it to advance ourselves. I don't care how you feel about Jesus or how you feel about Noble Drew. I don't care. That's all personal, for real, and I'm glad. But we got issues that we really need to address and correct. So that's what you want right now. You're working on correcting everything about, you know, the injuries that's been done to you. That's all this is, bro. You know, and so you're gonna get this work. That's just it.
Right.
You're gonna get
Yeah.
this work, but don't deal with fear. Do not deal with your fears about them. Question who they are. Question the validity, the legality. Question who the fuck they are. Like, don't leave them to make presumptions about you, because if you say nothing, then guess what? When it goes on record, only thing that goes on record is their presumptions, okay? And more than likely, it's not going to be in your favor. Period.
So off rip, don't take a lawyer.
Hell, I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to tell you that. What I would tell you is that as you become competent and aware, and you know that you can exercise your mind to defend yourself, then you understand that you don't even need nothing. You understand who he works for, and you understand who you work for. Who do you work for? You work for you. You're supposed to have a greater knowledge of who you are than him. Let's think about it. Let's let's really think about it. Is there anything that a lawyer and attorney can communicate about you better than yourself?
No.
Fuck no. And matter of fact, when you go into a courtroom, and I've seen it plenty of times, people get public defenders, lawyers, they never cite no law. All they have is a little social conversation with the so-called judge, and it don't be predicated on nothing lawful. Nothing.
All day.
Nothing. But you in there, we're afraid of some statutes, some codes. So the question becomes, do you know what a code is? Do you know what an ordinance is? Do you know what statutory law is? Do you know what common law is? You know, like, do you know what international law? Do you know these things? And if you don't know these things, then these are the things that you should be reading. It ain't like you got to do extensive research, get a book, open it up so it can give you the comprehension that you need. And that way you can you can classify them the way that you need to. And when you classify it, it means that you'll be able to have the conversation that you need to have with yourself, and the conversation that you need to have with people who are basically foreigners to you. You know what I mean? So you're going to be good. I think you're going to be good.
Yeah. Are you talking about a lawyer for the traffic ticket situation?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Nah.
public defender, because I can't afford no lawyer.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they probably gonna slap him. Like, I don't know. For me, it's tricky. Like, if I'm telling someone who's just starting, I'm not gonna tell them to go to war. That's like you learn to do a layup, and now you're gonna try to go play LeBron. It's like, do what you got to do to
like that.
to just stay out of jail right now, so you have the time to study. Okay, because you're gonna need to study, and you're gonna need to study a lot.
Oh boy was saying that's why I told him to study.
I told Finesse to study. That's right.
I'm studying, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot.
Hey, this is hey, bro, you studying right now. This is part of the studying. We're here to support you. Like, we can't do anything for you, but give you the information for you to digest for yourself.
Right.
That's right.
And that's what people go off wrong, because people think somebody's supposed to get them out of jail or do all this stuff for them. No, you're supposed to take the knowledge and do it for yourself.
Yeah, no,
that's right.
That's what Noble Drew Ali said. I gave you everything it takes to save yourself.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? And as brothers and sisters that's here, I'm telling you, we could watch a million YouTube videos of a million people talking some of the same lingo that we talking. Ultimately, it's all about how you're going to be receptive to it, what you're going to take from it. And if you're worried about your situation, then that's what you focus on. Then you focus on your situation. And like what I used to do, I focused on the things that I was afraid of. And I asked myself, why was I afraid of it? And I was afraid of most things because I didn't have the competency to be able to understand what they was. And in being ignorant of what they was, I just had a fear of it. And so I used to go into the courtroom all nervous. This is before I started reading, all nervous. But after I got that book from Taj, nah. I know now. I know what's going on. And the ill part about it is we all feel it. We all feel the shit. You feel it. You know it's not right. You know it's not right. So whatever you got that you fearful of, bruh, address it. Address it like right now, like today. Address it. You don't know the position of the judge. You don't know how they're going to move. You don't know none of the people. Start reading up on them motherfuckers. Yo, I be, bruh. Hey, bro, let me tell you how I went into the county clerk office last week. I go into the county clerk office last week, right? And so they like opened on a Tuesday. Well, I thought they opened up on a Tuesday. So it was a Tuesday. I went in on a Tuesday and I had a Lodio title that I created because I had got a property. And so I'm like, look, I'm going to go ahead and classify my property. He go quick claim, this, that, and the third, put on the record. And so the lady says, what's your name? I said, well, I'm Truth. And she said, Truth? And let me tell you how the supervisor came out of nowhere, bro. She said, yeah, that's Truth Ali. I said, what the fuck? I said, yo, how the fuck you? Bro, I don't even know these people. She said, no, that's Truth Ali. You need to know who he is. She said, I'm really upset that you didn't come in yesterday. She said, I'm surprised. I thought you would have been here yesterday. I said, well, shit, I didn't know you was open. But it's just a testament to say that, bro, I stand on what I know. And in standing on what I know, I gained them people respect so much that they like, yo, I'm not going to forget this dude. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, I used to go in there with all types of instruments that I created, and they would try to deny me. They would have to go get their lawyers. The lawyers would come down and be like, oh shit. Oh, you need to leave him alone. He's right. Leave him alone. Let him do what he's going to do. He's all right. I'm telling you, bro, I got rid of that fear. That was the issue. Once you get rid of the fear, the coercion, the manipulation to be in fear, once you get rid of it and see it for what it is, it's just like the straw man. It's just like the Wizard of Oz. They pulled the fucking curtain back. It was a little motherfucker in the background on the microphone acting like he was king shit. You see what I'm saying? Bruh, you just going to reveal who they are. You know what I mean? And they're going to respect the shit, bro. They're going to have so much respect for you, bro. Because they looking for people like us to wake the fuck back up, because they know they know we're going to be the only people to bring this shit back into balance. They know it, even though they fighting against it. And it's going to be people like you, because I got sons behind me. I got daughters behind me. And when you see them, they ain't got to play fucking catch up like we had to play catch up, because they already getting it. Just like Jalil said, it should be in elementary school. You see what I'm saying? But you got to get rid of the fear. Once you do that, bro, you're going to be good. Yeah. You're going to be good. You're going to find out that your fear is only predicated on what you assume. You're going to find out that your fear is predicated on your own assumptions.
And that's why they label us black, because black comes with fear. It's just that simple.
Facts. This is facts. But yeah, but we're going to encourage you, man, to read. And like I said, I want to be able to give you some material that I have. I'm going to also send an email to Jalil on some of the petitions that I submitted for dismissals. And like I said, I've done them all over the so-called United States with people that I never even met before, bro. You know what I mean?
So remember you were saying like, okay, you ain't never even had a license, so where's the contract? So I told you, like, after I caught the ticket, I went and got the permit. So does that negate what you were saying? Like,
nope. It ain't. Listen, that permit is not going to conflict with your rights. You understand? You got to recognize that what they try to do is get you to abandon your rights and accept privileges that they can terminate, give you, or, you know what I mean, or suppress or restrict. You got to remember, it's all commercial. So privileges is something that can be taken away. Rights is something that's inalienable. You can stop whenever you want.
Permit is really just permission. It's the same thing as a license. So really, you're just trying to go back into their jurisdiction when you're doing that. Because you already have the right to do something. You already have the right to travel, which you was reading about the other day, right?
Right. And they made it distinguished between a driver and a traveler on the and it made the distinction between
one of the things that I did for, like I said, all these people all over, man, I made a Lodio Rights to Travel book. Jalil hasn't even seen it yet. I gotta get you to see it. So he probably gonna cuss me out.
It's my problem with Truth, man. Like, Truth is like one of the greatest Moors not known.
Yeah, man. I'm quiet. I don't like talking too much unless it's to one of my brothers. Like you see, my goal is always about creating what it is that I see that's missing. Because as you begin to journey, you're going to see the things that's missing. And it's not to get mad and start condemning. It's to say, how can I contribute and create so that we can have? And so I created for several people all over the states, an Lodio Right to Travel book. I had them get it all dedicated in their so-called state, so-called courts, with so-called Department of Treasury, so-called Department of State. And I'm gonna tell you, my man's he's from Camden, and his name is Prince. And this dude had a warrant for his arrest. He had some outstanding tickets. He had a driver's license. He had a suspended license. And let's make a long story short, he got stopped at least 3 times so far. Each time he give them the manual that I created for him. It got his pictures in it, has his status in it. When I say this instrument is so thorough, even when I got pulled over by the police one day, they said it's the first time I ever seen a Moor with legal documentation. Okay? And make a long story short, my brother, it's the same thing with me, but with my brother, yo, they say, here you go, sir, here go your document. They seen that state seal, they seen that bill that because it's a bill, it's a House resolution where they make it illegal for anybody to begin to do what you call human trafficking based off of them driving in the vehicle. So they can't even take you out of your vehicle. But if you don't know that, they're gonna do the shit anyway. You feel me? But anyway, They seen those instruments, bro. They came back to his car like this. Here you go, Mr. Bay. Have a good day. And he's Hispanic too. The brother's Hispanic, but that's my boy. But they gave him his book back and said, have a good day. And then peeled off. They ain't want this 3 times, bro. They ain't want no problems, bro. And it's all about, my book reflects what it is that I know. And all the images in my books ain't no red, so-called Indian, pale face. It's images of us. It's images just like that. It's images just like that.
This is the book that he wrote that came out last year.
Yep. And so essentially what I'm saying is that any instruments that I create is just a reflection of what it is that I know. So if I'm going to exercise some rights, it's good to, because we live in this era where this 1700 mentality that they have based off the Negro Act, because they got this stigma that exists in our mind, we always got to present documentations to them. I feel like I'm in the 1700s. I got to prove who I am just to walk across the street because these Negroes over here don't want to get right, bro. And this shit is sad. But if you do create documents, it should reflect what you know. That way you shut them down because they're looking for you to just argue with them. I'm not about to fucking argue with you. I don't even fucking know you, bro. I talk to cops. You see, I talk just like that. I'm not trying to be shot. Who the fuck is you? Oh, stop right. Who the fuck is you? Man. All right. You're going to have to grab me. And they going to have to grab me. Don't touch me. I don't fucking know you. If I was to come grab you up right now, you're going to be like, you're going to throw your hands. Why you don't feel like that when you see them just because they got on a uniform? You should have your uniform on. Yeah, you should have your uniform on. Because your uniform is your crown that you're wearing.
Yeah.
It don't mean that you got to be, see, it's like this. It don't mean you got to be violent. We know who the fuck they are. Everything is about being aware. And so my poise is always like how I am. And I don't leave nothing to presumption. I'll listen. And after I'm done listening, I got to kill whatever presumption that you may have. Because I know that, one, you assume it, and in your assumption, you think that you're going to exercise some power over me. And you not. I don't give a fuck who you is. You can have your gun. Because I'm not feared. I'm not fearful. I'm not afraid to get shot, bro. I had guns pulled out on me by cops so many times, bro. Each time I had a gun pulled out on me by a cop, I was just from here. One day I was home. I came from the Navy, right? One day I came home from the Navy. And so I'm just kicking it. I'm just chilling. And I go outside, and a cop come up on me like this, bro, with a gun. Yo, get the fuck on the ground. It's like December. Get the fuck on the ground. I looked at him like this. I'm not doing shit. What you mean get on the ground? That ground cold. I'm not doing none of that shit. Oh, no, we got to report that somebody had a gun. I said, I don't give a fuck what you got. I'm not getting on the ground. And basically, essentially what I'm saying to you, man, is that I never had no fear. They already did what they did to us and been doing it. So why should I be afraid to be who the fuck I am? I'm not going to do it. I can't do it no more. It hurt me when I don't do it. I feel sick when I don't be who I am and defend myself and speak the way I need to. All the fucking injury that's being done, they got the audacity to continue to pull out guns and then to stop us and to be treating us like we in violation of their fucking bullshit codes and statutes that they just made up to get economics. The audacity, bruh. That's so disrespectful to me. And so because of that, I have this firm disposition. I could show love, but I'm also going to show you that I'm not going to be accepting no bullshit. I'm just not. You know what I mean? I'm just not.
Another thing, like, why you think they always showing our people getting killed on the streets? That's to induce fear. But it's like, at the same time, a lot of our people come from gangbanging, and there's a threat of death every day. So you're not. Some people not scared. Then it's only when because they see it on the TV, and they see our people dying, and they want to blast it on media, and that just blasts all the fear. That's all that's about.
That's all it is, man. But that's the whole thing. As long as they can keep you into that cycle of induced fear, like you're saying, they got the upper hand. And the one thing that I always, this is just a precept that I have for myself. One thing that I'm aware of is as long as this European and his minions can tie up your time, they've been successful. And no matter how much you defend, no matter how many cases you win, even with myself, they deprive me of a time, something that I can never get back. And if they can deprive you of any time where you can take focus off of yourself, focus off of your status, focus off of your family, they have been successful. So the question becomes, how do we eliminate them from being able to take that time from us? And it's doing what we're talking about right now. You know what I mean? And strengthening our consciousness and our understanding of ourselves and stepping into different information, not just with law, but other sciences. You know what I mean? And that's just it. And as you get into those other principles and sciences and lessons, it's only going to strengthen who you are, man. I'm telling you, man. They going to see. They first of all, like I said, they already see you shining, bro. They already see it. They already know it. They feel it. And when you start talking, they're going to feel that. They're going. Yeah, I know he talking about, but we're going to see, can we shut him down real quick? They're going to test you. You know what I mean? So if I could come in here and tell you, and if I could say that you Richard, and you could say, hell no, I ain't no fucking Richard, that's me testing you and testing who you are. And you're going to stand, okay? Judicial standard, your judicial standing, what is it going to be? You know what I mean? So don't go in there with no fear, man, and we're going to support you, bro. We're going to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to keep getting support from the outside. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you.
Because like you said, I'm in the state right now. I'm in Massachusetts where the rise of the Moors just happened, and I know those brothers is well informed, supremely knowledgeable, and they actually still sitting in jail right now. Like there ain't no way they should even been in jail.
Right.
Because of criminals.
Yeah, because of criminals. I mean, and that's the thing. They're going to try to. This is going to be the funny part. They sitting in jail right now. So for me, like as I'm aware of who I am, I already made my mind up and already convinced myself a long time ago that if I'm ever detained or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna be patient until I get that moment. Because I know when that moment comes, it's gonna be fireworks. Because I know that them brothers are gonna be released, and I guarantee they're gonna dismiss all the so-called claims that they're making. Because the truth of the matter is, they have a right to exercise their firearms. My only disposition that I have for the brothers is, if they standing on these principles, they shouldn't have run. But they being violated by criminals like Jalil saying, they being violated. That's just it. So for me, if I'm gonna walk around with my guns personally, I ain't moving nowhere. All right, this shit is for what it's for. You know what I mean? But I think them brothers is gonna get that case dismissed, get it thrown out, and they're not gonna make no national apology. They're gonna continue to try to slander who we are, slander what they did, act like they criminals, act like they a militia. They're gonna continue to do those things.
They already got them labeled as terrorists.
And that's what it's all about. They're just creating the movement. It's not an attack against. It's not about the 11 brothers that was in there. It's about getting people to be scared to be Moors. That's what it was about.
That's it. That's it. So that way, when we approach it, they gonna say, "Oh, ain't that's that group, right? Oh, ain't that's a religious group too? Ain't that?" It's all these stigmas. There's all these stigmas being placed on us on a constant basis because you exercising your right. But you got to remember, they get upset. They take like you got to think about it. How can the people, excuse me, like Malcolm X said, they full of contradictions and hypocrisies. One minute they say, well, it's illegal, or we're not going to infringe upon somebody's right to nationally identify. Everybody had equal rights. And then as soon as you begin to exercise those rights, they ready to infringe upon it. They upset that you want to exercise it. They mad and say, oh, you can't do this. What the fuck you mean? You see what I'm saying? But you got to remember who you dealing with. You dealing with the people who, one, are perpetrators, bruh. They perpetrating, man. And they know who the fuck you is. They know who you are, bruh. They know who you is. Soon as they're gonna go, just, can you cut your hair? No. Can you cut your hair? That's what they want. Can you cut your hair? Cause they want to what you call denationalize you in any way that they can, consciously, physically, socially, emotionally. As long as you have no attachment to your culture.
Disassociation.
They feel good. Culture disassociation, right? Right. They feel confident because you got to remember, Amos Wilson said it best. He said, in order for these powers to be what they are, we have to be out of our natural state of consciousness. You cannot be in your same natural state of consciousness, because in your natural state of consciousness, you will automatically take a disposition to all of these different things. But we got to get you out of that consciousness. You see what I'm saying? And so if you're out of that consciousness, then guess what? You subject. We subject. You see what I'm saying? And for me, I don't know, for Jalil and many other people, we not having this shit. We not having it, bro. You know what I mean? And it's going to be the same case with you. So, you know, like I said, we're going to be here to work with you, man, so that way you can just shut these dudes down, man. Like, that's just it. That's just it. You know what I mean? But you got to continue reading and studying. And, again, just to reiterate, address all the things that you're fearful of. Address all the things you don't feel confident in, and see what you need to do to strengthen it. If you don't have understanding on how a process is supposed to work, the procedures that they have in court, study their procedures. Pull up a YouTube video. I used to go to, I ain't gonna hold you, Taj ain't had to tell me none of this shit. I used to go to the courthouse, federal courthouse. I used to go to the municipal courthouse. I went to the superior courthouse. And I used to sit in every session, bro. I'm telling you, I used to sit in bankruptcy court just like this with my ladies. I used to be just like this in bankruptcy court. Kick the fuck up, listening to everything that's going on because I want to know what the fuck they know. I want to understand the process and the procedure on how they did things. And when I did that, I would just take notes and it allowed me to set a stage for when I get into courtroom. I know they're going to try to move like this. And it's because I knew it, I was able to counter it. You see what I'm saying? I was able to shut it down. But this is what happens when you get information. Don't rely on what I'm saying. Trust your experience. Take what we saying, use it, expand it, apply it, and see how it serves you. Don't just sit down on it and be in the book. Get the fuck out of that book too. Go into these facilities. Ask these jokes questions, bro. And start exercising. Say, yo, do you got this shit in writing? I need to see it. You keep claiming it. Bro, you know how many people I done shut down with that shit? Oh, no. You got to do it like this. This is what the law said. Okay, cool. Give it to me then. They can't produce it because they're just making it up. And they don't want you to exercise those rights. They don't want you to think. And if you know anything about this shit, they don't want you to think. Period. A lady tell me like this, Jalil, I think I told you, Jalil, lady go just like this when I came in the courtroom. She says, what's your name? And I said, no. I said, I don't have a name. I said, Christians got names. I said, I have a title and an appellation. I said, my appellation is Truth. I said, my title was Ali. And she said, huh? She said, no. Give me your Christian name. I said, what? Christian name?
Yeah, I remember you sent me that
remember
video.
I told you that, George? Yeah. So
I still have the.
Bro, you gotta play them shits, you know what I mean? But it's just to say that they are consciously aware of what's going on, and they understand that this is all being operated under for principal codifications, and they know these things. But the issue becomes is, do you know, and are you aware of who you are? You know what I mean? And that's the whole issue here right now. You know what I mean? So, bro, gotta be confident, and like I said, don't just sit back on this information and reading in the house, man. Take this shit to the next level that I need to be taken to, man. And feel confident.
Also, I want to go back on the point he said about sitting in court, because that's very underrated. Like, and using the basketball analogy, that's really scouting ahead. You scouting to get the information, see what that team is going to do.
Right.
And so you prepare yourself before time because you already know what they're going to do. They do the same thing every time.
I dig that. And if I didn't have to work and make this money at this job, I would be going to court to sit there. But by the time I get out of work, court closed.
Yeah, I feel you.
Right.
So it's like you just got to do whatever you can within your means. Like even if it's YouTube, they're on YouTube too. Yeah, they record this stuff. They got city council meetings on YouTube. All this stuff is recorded. If you want it, you can go find it.
That's right. And that's the thing. I think that like for me personally, I used to always be doing whatever I was doing, playing basketball, running the streets. But the minute that I felt that this was important, I found time to find out all these different things. And I think that when you're on the quest to find out information, people show up, situations show up that's going to accommodate your request. You make that universal request, there's going to be things. And the issue becomes, is are we disciplined enough to be there to listen and like take the time out to strengthen those weak areas about ourselves? That's really what it was about. You know what I mean? So as you get time, bro, use it, maximize it, because everything is going to be a test to see how committed you are, to see how intelligent you are, to see if you're confident. Everything is going to be a test on what it is that you declare and proclaim that you say that you are. Nothing in life comes without a test. Nothing in life comes without having to go do situations and challenges, bro. It just don't happen. You trying to get, let's just say you trying to get this girl. Before you get this girl, you got to come correct. You got to have a clean haircut. You got to be dressed. You got to smell good. You got to have money. You got whatever it is, however you get it, however you get to her. You may have to go through so many different efforts just to get to her, but you had to go do that shit to get what you wanted. This shit don't come without challenge. Nothing in life does. And while we sit down and we get mad that we might be going through some shit, trust me, as I'm evaluating myself, I'm learning every day that, yo, it's supposed to be that challenge there because it's supposed to strengthen who I am. I embrace them challenges now, bro. I'm telling you. Yeah,
one last thing, because I need to get off here in a little bit. But I remember, this is to finesse. You remember when you said the books can get expensive?
Yeah.
But the perspective is, don't look at it as expensive. It's an investment.
Nah, I
Like our people will spend money on Jordans and everything else. Those are expensive around the same price. Some books be cheaper,
Yeah.
but
Right.
we'll find the money or the fiat to go get clothes and stuff to look
Right.
fly all day. So you gotta change your perspective.
That's
Nah,
it.
I dig it.
I
I
agree.
dig it. I've read there was when I was upstate, ordering books. There was a company, I think it was African Heritage Books or some shit like that, and
Yeah.
their little slogan was, "If you think knowledge is expensive, imagine the price of ignorance."
Exactly.
Right.
Can't put it better than
Right.
that.
Right.
But do you have any more questions, or are you good? Like, cause I know it was a lot. We hit you with a lot, but it's a lot to
Yeah,
digest.
Right.
yeah. I'm just trying to, cause I'm just gonna go read and try to, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, I'm
That's
gonna
all I
make it
can do.
easier for you. I'm gonna make it easier for you. I'm gonna inbox you, or you can inbox me your email, and I'm gonna send you some content, some material and stuff that I put together, so that way you can evaluate your situation dealing with this traffic issue. Because you have to understand what traffic is. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't understand that, then you already defeated.
Yeah.
You already defeated. So
And
I'm gonna send you some material.
again, we gonna see if that book get there tomorrow. Because if not, I'm gonna start putting pressure on them. Because truth, I sent them Black's Fourth, and you know how much that run.
Yo,
So,
And
and
yo,
that's where you're gonna need to study with everything.
real,
it's crazy
real.
because once you damn, where is this shit? You had sent me the fourth, right?
Yeah.
But I had came across, I don't know if this is as good, but I've been in it. I came across this sixth.
That's pretty good too. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, that's better than
Fourth,
nothing.
fifth, and sixth. After you get past the sixth, it really starts to get watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we start hiding.
yeah, that's pretty good as well. What's up, bro?
They
It,
start high. But
it,
yeah, man, but everything go back to you doing the work that you need to do. And like I'm just appreciative, for being invited into the conversation. And like for me, everything is about continuing this legacy. I think we all got children and the families, and it's just important that while you study through, can you do your best to have your children involved or the people that you love involved, because it's going to make it that much more supportive, that much more easier, because they're going to because other people come into different nuances that we don't all the time. And it sometimes take their conscious awareness to introduce these things to us, So don't do it alone, man, because you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're not
Yeah,
by
and the more
yourself.
you study, the energy is going to bring people to you. Like
Yes,
you're
yeah,
it
going to
is.
meet the right people on the way.
it's already brought the people to me because personally,
Exactly.
I don't got no kids, and the few people, because I don't fuck with many people, the few people I do mess with, they don't want to hear this type of shit at all. They like, go ahead
Yeah.
with that shit, like bullshit.
Right.
So
For
Right.
now,
yeah,
until you start shining.
right.
Right.
That's typically how it works. But truth, one thing before you get off, when you exit out of here, post it to IGTV so that way it saves this live.
All right. I
That
don't
way
even
I
know how
can
to do all
download
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hell
because I
yeah.
already know you probably gonna delete it.
All right. So I got to figure out how to do that when I exit out, then I guess.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
gonna
says
give
save,
you
right? All you gotta do
yeah,
is
it
hit
should
save.
might say save or post to IGTV. That it's gonna save it that way too.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. I'm going
But
to do that then.
I'm gonna get on out of here. Y'all take it easy.
I'm about to get out of here too, man. I'm about to go on that basketball court and get busy.
You know that.
All right.
I'll wait to come see you.
Hey, you better get ready to. You better start practicing.
All right,
Suicide.
Finesse, man. It's been a pleasure, my brother. You know what I mean? Hit me up with the email so I could hit you up.
I got you right now.
Send you some
Peace.
material.
I got
All
you
right,
right
peace to the
now.
God.
Peace.
Yep, peace.